Hello, this is Joe Herrera with the Michael Chekhov Studio Orlando YouTube channel. I am a certified teacher of the Michael Chekhov technique, certified by the National Michael Chekhov Association. Today's video is just my way of just playing around with some of the tools. Yes, I do still play with the tools. I'm an actor, so I have to find ways that the tool still resonates with me. Today I just went back to basics. I popped in my mentor's DVD, Lisa Dalton. She has a great, phenomenal DVD. I encourage anyone who's into the Chekhov or psychophysical or just acting, period, to go get it. It's available at the National Michael Chekhov Association's website. I believe it's www.chekhov.net. And just look for the Rock and Roll Review DVD, Lisa Dalton's Rock and Roll Review. And she goes through most of the tools in the chart of inspired acting that you'll find in the preface on the Technique of Acting, which is Michael Chekhov's book. Today I was just playing around with expansion contraction, which is once again called the pulse of life. We can see expansion, this energetic movement of open and closing. These are principles that you see everywhere. You know, you see traffic on the highway opening up and then congestion, closing in. You see the cycle of life, right? Birth, expanding, child grows into baby, toddler, adolescent, adulthood, and then starts the process of contracting into elderly age until they pass on. And if you believe in the afterlife, then there's the next phase of expansion that happens in the spiritual realm. So today, I just was playing around with that with this tool, open, close, expansion, contraction, and I'm going to apply it just as a little fun discovery, as an application with my practice, observation, and application exercise that I encourage all of my students to do. So I'm practicing what I'm preaching and just applying it in some text. The text I chose for today to work on this is from Comedy of Errors, Shakespeare. The scene where Antipholus of Syracuse is professing his love to Luciana. And you'll see me do expansion, contraction, veiled and unveiled. I'm going back and forth with some of those. So try to see if you can pinpoint the times that I'm veiling it, the times that I am unveiling it. The degree, if you can use a codification scale of 1 to 10, 0 to 10, 0 being fully contracted, 10 being fully expanded. Where do you see my character in that scale? From the beginning to the middle to the end. And play with it. So try to see if you can see where expansion, contraction is happening. And even the other challenge would be what quality of expansion and contraction. Am I doing it cautiously? Am I doing it aggressively? Am I doing it quickly, softly? How am I doing what I'm doing is what quality is all about. So what am I doing? I'm going to be opening and closing using this tool and relying on the image of the tool to indicate how I'm going to say these lines to Luciana. Okay? And so that's what I'm doing. How I'm doing it is going to be contingent on how the image spurs me further. Now, this is a rehearsal technique, a rehearsal tool right here. Eventually, you would make some solid choices when it comes to performance, but this is just the land of discovery, land of play, so let's just have fun and play with it. I'll see you soon with my Antipholus of Syracuse.
Sweet mistress, what your name is else I know not. Nor by what wonder you do hit of mine. Less in your knowledge and your grace you show not than our earth's wonder more than earth divine. Teach me, dear creature, how to think and speak. Lay open my earthy gross conceit, smothered in errors feeble, shallow, weak, the folded meaning of your words' deceit. Against my soul's pure truth, why labor you to make it wander in an unknown field? Oh, you a god? Would you create me new? and to your power I'll yield. But if that I am I, then well I know your weeping sister is no wife of mine, nor to her bed homage do I owe. Far more to you do I decline. Train me not, sweet mermaid, to thy note, to drown me in thy sister's flood of tears. Sing, siren, and I will dote. Spread all the silver waves, thy golden hairs, and as a bed I'll take them, and there lie. Men in their glorious supposition think he gains by death, that hath such means to die. Let love, being light, be drowned if she sink. Sweet mistress, what your name is else, I know not, nor by what wonder you do hit of mine, less in your knowledge and your grace you show not, than our earth's wonder more than earth divine. Teach me, dear creature, how to think and speak. Lay open my earthy gross conceit, smothered in errors feeble, shallow, weak, the folded meaning of your words' deceit. Against my soul's pure truth, why labor you to make it wander in an unknown field? Are you a god? Would you transform me new? Transform me then, and to your power I'll yield. But if that I am I, then well I know your weeping sister is no wife of mine, nor to her bed homage do I owe. Far more to you do I decline. Oh, sweet mermaid, train me not to thy note, to drown me in thy sister's flood of tears. Sing, siren, and I will dote. Spread all the silver waves thy golden hairs, and as a bed I'll take them, and there lie. And in that glorious supposition think he gains by death that has such means to die. Let love, being light, be drowned if she sink.
So basically what you saw was just, I decided to do two versions of it. The first one is totally unveiled, meaning that it would be a little bit more over the top. Depending on the style of the production that one is doing, that would work. Those are choices. Again, this is not final product. We're just playing around with the tools to see what discoveries we can make. I know that there's a great book out there by Michael Chekhov, Audition, and he talks about discoveries, that an actor should always look for the moments of discoveries in a scene. I believe that Chekhov is a great way to weave into these other techniques and other methodologies where you can find those discoveries, where you really rely on the image of the tool that you're working on. For example, today I was working on expansion contraction, and one of the things that I appreciated about working this way was finding the nuances within this character. My favorite moments, I don't think there was one specific moment, but overall there was this feeling that I got that this character Antipholus, he's like ready to burst. At least right now, that's how I sense this character would be in the scene. He's ready to burst open. Climactically, if you will, for lack of a better term, to professing his love for Luciana. He's head over heels in love with this woman, and so finding this pulse of the impulse of opening and closing. Opening and closing. There's a lot of tension there, a lot of sexual tension, if you wanted to incorporate some of that sexuality in the scene, which I think is appropriate for that scene, because I think both are, in my opinion, both are attracted. That, you know, Shirtleff also says about finding love in the scene, and I think both actually do love each other. They're just forbidden from of doing it or of expressing it at this certain moment in time. But if you do know the play, then at the end they do get together. So I think that my intuition is leading me in the right direction. Obviously, this would be just more of a rehearsal tool, a rehearsal technique process, and with a director involved, he would kind of steer me critically, you know, evaluating my performance and determining on, okay, yeah, that's the right path, Joe. That's not working. Maybe try this. Maybe try that. But that wasn't the goal of today's video. The goal of today's video was just to throw out a couple of tools, expansion, contraction, and just play with it. Just really play with it and find what we can find with it. So the first version is unveiled, broad, almost abstract type of movement. A little bit more on the veiled side, so it's not fully unveiled, but I would say between 0 to 10, it was probably at a 7. And then the second version is veiled, which means that it's more internalized. It can leak out. It'll leak out in maybe the habits, the habitual mannerisms, the gestures that I was using for Antipholus of Syracuse. Write me a note. Write me a note to see if you can determine on either versions where you saw that I was expanding and contracting, and could you codify it? 0 being fully contracted and 10 being fully expanded. Where would you label my expansion contraction? Now remember, expansion contraction is not static. It's a continuum. It's a pulse. So at one beat, I could probably be expanding from a 2 to a 7, and then all of a sudden there's a shift in the beat, and I can start to the process of contracting from a 7 all the way down to a 1, perhaps. And then there are some qualities that I also added to it. So write me a note and share your thoughts on this. And then if you want to try it yourself, go ahead and do it and post it, and then share it with me so that I can see what you're doing. I would love to just appreciate and find value in your work. If you are in the Orlando area, you want to come down and take a class, then just log on to www.michaelchekhovstudioorlando.com and sign up. Sign up for private lessons or semi-private lessons if you have a friend that wants to join you, and we can get started on psychophysical acting. All right? This is Michael Chekhov Studio Orlando, Joe Herrera signing off, and thank you so much. Radiating joy back to you all. Bye.